Hello, welcome to Social Work TV. Today I will be discussing with you about the politics of social work. Um, and when I say the politics of social work, many will be thinking about politics in general or politics in the national level. But I'm going to talk about politics within the social work profession in Ghana and how it affects service delivery and promotion of the profession in its entirety. Social work profession is one of the oldest profession that you can find on earth, and it has contributed immensely to the development of the human race. And many developed countries like the US, UK, Germany, China are doing very well when it comes to the social work profession. Many people think the social work profession belongs to states that are socialist, but that is not true. Most of the capitalist societies or countries are the countries with the most number of people or number of professionals in the field of social work. Currently, as I'm talking with you, the USA has more than 700,000 persons practicing the social work profession, and it's one of the professions that can help a nation to develop when we want to bridge the gap between the poor and the rich, or when we want to facilitate the services that will help the needy, the poor, and the vulnerable in society. Any country don't want to support the downtrodden, down to support the people down there, uses the social profession as a vehicle to convey their welfare services. When we come to Ghana, we pretend to be a nation that thinks about the poor. We pretend to be a nation that is much interested in developing social policies. But when you go deeper, you realize that many of these policies are done at the national level, but the country or the policymakers forgot or forget to build the capacity of the professionals that will handle these policies. And that is the reason why that if you realize most of these policies don't even achieve the main objective that was behind the development of these policies. But what is the cause of all these um, problems or phenomena? Realize that the professionals who had opportunity to start the practice of the social work in Ghana are the people that mess up the profession. So when I'm talking of the politics of social work, I'm talking about the politics within the profession itself in Ghana. And I'm talking about the relationship between the leaders or the heads of the social work profession. That is the people heading the social welfare, because it's the mother body or it is the institution that employ the largest chunk of social work professionals in this country. So the leaders up there, their relationship with the people down there, and how the people already in the profession are connected to people who are under training to come and join the profession. The politics that is play among these groups. That's what I'm coming to look at. And you could see that when you are somebody who studies the social work profession in Ghana, you realize that people who are up there, do not really think about the people that are down there. When you look at the politics within professions like the teacher unions, the medical associations, the local government unions, and all that, you realize that anything that has to do with their profession, they come together and they fight from the top to down. But when you come into the social work profession, it's rather from the down to the top. And the difficult thing is that when you're trying to fight from down to top, it is not the politician that will stop the social worker. It is the social worker up there that will suppress the social worker down there who is trying to fight for his rights. And I'm still reading and researching. I have not come across any piece of information that says that there has ever been a strike, be it a sit-down strike, be it demonstration, just to by social workers in Ghana, just to convey their grievances to the government or the governing authority. You realize that currently the social work profession is being destroyed, and the institution, the mother body, the mother institution that employs the chunk of social workers in Ghana is also being delegated to the background. Let me give you one example. You know, when you go to the social welfare department, that is the headquarters, at first they have a department or a unit or a head unit that was in charge of the registration of NGOs. So let me say, yeah, the registration of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, being it a church, being it a foundation, being whatever. When you want to operate in Ghana as a charity organization, it is a social welfare. After you are done with your registration with the Registrar General, it is a supervisory body, which is a social welfare department, that has the authority to give you the licenses to go into the field and practice. The Registrar General will give you the trademark name, the name of your NGO. They will verify and make sure that the name that you are bringing up is unique to you and is your property, you and your board of directors and all that. And then to practice or to be able to carry out your activities, the institution that have that monopoly or that right to guarantee you or issue you that certificate to be able to practice is the social welfare department. Currently, as I'm talking to you, the ministry has taken away that power and set a unit within the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare that they should look, or they should have the power to handle the registration and licensing of NGOs or charity organizations in terms of their operations. And you wonder, is it that the social welfare as an institution don't have the capacity to carry out this responsibility if they are well resourced? You ask yourself, why is it that the leaders or the people up there are quiet? You ask yourself, why is it that they can't stand up for the profession? And it gives the political or the appointing authority to now impose on them people who are not social work professionals to take roles of the social work profession. And when you ask them, when you ask the social workers who are up there, because most of them are not even social workers, who are up there, they will tell you that you don't have the authority to employ. Fine. If you don't have the authority to employ, make sure that the appointing authority or the institution that has the authority to employ brings to you the people that can do the work. But this is the case that no, that's not what is happening. They are quiet, they are mute, and when the people, when they bring them, they present them carpenters, they present them people who have certificate in supply chain and whatever. When they bring them people who did political science, they grab them and ask them to head certain institutions within the social welfare department. And you ask yourself, why will we be putting the lives of people into people who has no knowledge about the reason why those people find themselves in that institutions? They don't care. So the politics within the social profession is that people seek for themselves. There is self-seeking within the social welfare department. There is fear that is gripping, or that has gripped everybody within the social welfare department, and it has been disseminated into the lowest person or professional within the profession. So when any person tries to come out and voice out, it is the same social worker who will backbite. It is the same social worker who will tap on that person and bring him down. They don't understand why a social worker should speak out. Now, one thing that those people refuse to understand is that the social work profession itself is centered around advocacy, and not advocacy within the lowest level, but advocacy within a national level. I mean, when for example, if a government is introducing free education or free senior high, for instance, social workers must have an input. Social workers must be able to present to the government their view of that social policy, how it should be implemented. If there's an issue like LGBTQR plus whatever, the social work profession must have a stand, and not just a stand, but a stand and a voice that can reach the corridors of power. So if you have head of department, if you have managers of department who are all afraid to advocate, who are all afraid to speak because they say they are in the public sector, they are afraid to voice out, then you ask yourself, the doctors, the teachers, the judicial service, are they working in the private sector? Why are they able to voice out? Why are they able to reach shoulders with government when policies are going wrong, or there are policies that they think will not go on their way? Why are they able to stand up and talk and speak out? You ask yourself. So you realize that there is a certain form of conspiracy at the highest level that has trickled down to the lowest level. And the politics within the social work profession in Ghana is what is crippling the profession and destroying the profession. So we really need to sit up as a nation. We have to sit up as a nation. Even countries where, when you look at the poverty level, they are up there. They are still making good use of the social work profession. Because the social work profession is not just about sitting at the children's home sitting at the shelter, or trying to get people out of the street. That's not the only job or work of the social worker. The social work profession cut across every sector within the economy. So, for instance, at the hospital, there is social workers at the hospital who work at the hospital. So if you don't get the right professional who has gone through the proper training to understand what it means to diagnose a person and be able to confirm that this person does not stand to be able to settle his bills in the hospital, proper diagnosis, you get people who write false reports to the directors of the various hospitals to declare people to clear people from their bills, and that goes a long way to affect the internal revenue generation of these various hospitals. And it gets to a point, and directors of these various hospitals refuse to give clearance to people even when they are genuinely unable to pay their fees, because they realize that they receive report every day. That does not make sense, because these people has no knowledge when it comes to tracing people, knowing their family background from the village that the person is coming from to where the person is residing currently, including the friends around the person. Every means possible that the person can get resources to help he or herself must be exhausted. It must be exhausted. You, the social worker, must exhaust all those revenues before you can write a report to a director of a hospital that this person will not be able to settle the bills. So if you keep him here, the hospital is going to make losses. The more the person is still in the hospital, the more we are spending on him, and the more the hospital is losing, and the person is not going to be able to pay that bill. So it's better let him go. Secondly, we all know that there are social workers at the court, the family court and the juvenile court. Social workers are the people who write social inquiry reports. So you have somebody who is going to determine the lifestyle of a person, of a juvenile, within a period of 3 years, who's not a social worker, who doesn't know how to write a social inquiry report, or who doesn't know how to make a research, an inquiry into the life of the individual. And when the information is put before him, how is he able to analyze that information and come out with proper social inquiry reports? So for instance, you have a juvenile who's staying in a certain community, commits a certain crime. Let's say a crime that may take him to the correctional home for 3 years, which is maximum for juveniles. How will the social worker be able to make an inquiry that will either keep the person in the correctional home or keep the person out of the correctional home for monitoring and evaluation? So for example, the social worker should be able to do a thorough inquiry about the community, not the person, not the juvenile, but about the community. You should be able to do an inquiry about the number of cases, acts of same act that has been committed by the juvenile in that community. How regular has those acts been committed within that community in the past, and how were they resolved? How many juveniles has committed same crimes or same acts within that community? What is the lifestyle of the community? the social workers should be able to understand the relationship or the correlation between the juvenile and the community. You should be able to understand how the community creates its individuals, to be able to come to the conclusion that if that juvenile is sent back to that community, the probability of that juvenile committing that same crime is almost 80 to 90%. And therefore, it will not be advisable for the judge to allow that juvenile to go back to his parents for monitoring and evaluation, but rather he will be sent to the correctional home where he will be kept there for monitoring and evaluation. These are all things that we are not looking at. These are all things that we don't care. There's no agency. There's no, like, we don't care what happened to these children. So what is a normal business. You take them to the court, then they will just go and sit somewhere, copy the same social inquiry report that was written for some people many years ago and present it to a judge and expect the judge to give a proper judgment on the case. The right to be able to analyze the situation and support the judge in his judgment is for the social worker or the probation officer at the court. So the judge will not go to the community to go and analyze the community and understand how the community is before he gives his judgment. So he's putting his hopes and trust on the probation officer. Secondly, somebody who has come to the family court to seek for the custody of a child, that the right for the assessment of that individual has also been put into the hands of the probation officer, who is a social worker. So the probation officer has to make sure that the person who is demanding an access or custody of a child is in good condition to be able to take care of the child, to be able to meet the basic needs of the child. So if you have social worker or probation officers who are nothing to write home about, who don't have, first of all, the qualification, meaning they are putting people there who are not social workers. So first of all, they don't even know what they are there for. Secondly, they don't have resources. Even if they are proper social workers, there are no resources for them. Thirdly, if there are even resources, the person's monthly salary is not enough to cater for him. So the probability of that probation officer or that social worker to be able to be the person who is seeking for the custody of the child being able to compromise or being able to make the social worker or the probation officer to compromise his stance is high, and not being objective on the issue is very high. They easily become subjective. They can easily make decisions based on what they have received, based on what they have been promised to be given. And therefore, the child life has been messed up by someone who has no knowledge of what the future consequences are to that child. And the government, the head of the social welfare department, the ministry, who are in charge of all these things, do the usual politics. They don't care. They play around them. And the most painful thing is that we have social workers. So sometimes you think about it and you feel so sad that where did these people take their training? You have the head of the social welfare. You have directors and the deputy directors. You have people all around in different institutions like the children's home, like the correctional centers. Like, you have heads of department at the regional level. You have heads of department at the district level. You have heads of department at the municipal level. And they don't care. What they think about is their monthly salary, which is even peanuts. Which is peanuts. but they are satisfied because they don't do anything. They wake up, go to work at any time they want. If they don't go, there's no proper supervision. So they don't care about the children that are out there. What happens to them? They are not their children, because they can get a little that they can cater for their children at home. So they care less. They don't care about the old woman that is out there suffering. They don't care because she's not their grandfather, their grandmother. They don't care about the old man out there. Everyone will grow old one day. And when things become difficult for you, that is when you realize that the welfare services in every country is very important. And that unproductive politics that is being played out in the social welfare profession must stop. It must stop now. People should begin to think about the lives that has been put or trusted in their hands. People must begin to think about the profession, not their personal interests. They should begin to think about 10 years to come, 20 years to come, 40 years to come. How will they be seen as people who once led this great profession? Sometimes when you read about this profession, then you wonder if the same profession that we are practicing in Ghana here. You wonder if the same profession that we are practicing in Ghana here. And I blame the people that came earlier on. They got all the opportunities. They were fed freely. They didn't pay school fees. They were being paid in school. They were given the opportunity to work. And now they are messing up the lives of others. This is Social Work, Ghana Social Work TV. You can follow me on YouTube, Ghana Social Work TV, on Facebook, Social Work TV. My name is Stephen Adade. I am a social worker and currently also running an NGO called Save the Society Ghana. We are into helping children, we are into helping the aged, we are into helping communities. And if you want to be part of the social work and the Save the Society Ghana, just send me a message, leave a message under the comment section. I will contact you. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ghana Social Work TV, and there will be more videos that will help enlighten you on the profession of social work. I'll be coming back with another video that will talk about the corruption that is going on in the social work profession. And we're going to do a lot of work in this area. We're going to make sure that the social work profession is protected, is guarded. Those that fought for countries, those that fought for institutions, did it at the peril of their lives. And it must always get to the point and a time that there will be someone who will stand up for the good cause. And this is what we over here are doing for the social work profession. Have a good day.